Alright, so, as of me recording this, Sonic X Shadows Generation has came out today, October 25th. And, with me being a massive Sonic fan, I of course have some thoughts on this game. So, right out of the gate, I just want to lay down that I absolutely love Sonic Generations. That is by far my favorite Sonic game, just ever. I mean, I think I've played that game like a million times. I played it all the time when I was little when it came out on like the 360, and then I actually 100%ed it whenever I got my Xbox One and was able to play it via like backwards compatibility. And I 100%ed that game, I think like probably twice. And so, needless to say, I love that game. And whenever Sega started to remaster some of the old Sonic games, think like Colors Ultimate, which is a dumpster fire, and we'll surely talk about that here in a minute. But I was really hoping that they would remaster Sonic Generations. I mean, it's one of the most critically acclaimed Sonic games, so why wouldn't they? And so when this game was announced, I was not shocked. I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This is kind of the filler title in between the next, like, mainline Sonic game from Frontiers to whatever's coming next. But I expected it more online with, like, the Sonic Colors remaster, where it's like, at heart, it's the exact same game, and it's just tweaked. Now, I didn't expect this to be as a dumpster fire as Colors Ultimate, because this is actually being handled by Sonic Team and not some random studio that no one knows. So, that I was hopeful for. Like, yeah, this is just going to be a ported, enhanced version of Generations, which I'm cool with, which I would have been perfectly fine with, because, like I said, I love Generations. That is my favorite Sonic game. But what I didn't expect them to do was kind of like the 3D world plus Bowser's Fury thing, with introducing, like, I guess, Shadow Generations, which is literally another game on top of this. Like, I've heard this around, and I do believe this. Like, they literally did create a Shadow the Hedgehog 2, and then just threw Sonic Generations Remastered on it as like a safety, just to make sure people would buy it. Which, smart move, because, as we've seen in the past, people aren't really keen on, like, the weird Sonic spin-offs, but they don't have to be weird, but whatever. So, when we all found out that we were getting an extended episode Shadow that's basically a completely new game, I was hyped. And, after playing it, like I said, it came out today, I've played probably about, probably like 4.5, 5 hours of it. I haven't, like, gone deep and everything. I've played a bit of Generations, and then a bit of Shadow Generations, just to get a feel for both of them. I spent most of my time in Generations, just kind of reliving my childhood, because why wouldn't I? But, Shadow Generations, this is, without a shadow of my doubt, one of the most high-quality Sonic packages we have gotten in a long time. I mean, like, right off the bat, the Generations, like the Sonic Generations portion, it's the same game we all know and love. I mean, it looks as beautiful as it always has. I mean, everything's fantastic, and it's the same game we all know and love, and that's fine. That game really didn't need, like, messing with, and I would prefer them to just leave in some of the things that maybe people weren't 100% keen on, like the little side missions you have to do in order to get, like, the Chaos Emerald keys or whatever, which is annoying. It should be that you get them via the story, like the main levels. But, like, who cares, because it's not that big of a deal. Like, the game's still fantastic, and don't worry, I will 100% that again. I will 100% this entire package. Don't worry. But, yeah, Sonic Generations, it's the game you all know and love. I mean, if you never had the ability to play the original Sonic Generations back when it came out for the 360, or you couldn't play it via backwards compatibility for some reason, now is your chance. You can play this game, and you should, because it's absolutely phenomenal. But what I really want to talk about is the, I guess, the Shadow Generations portion. Because it does something that the original Sonic Generations did when it came out, which is kind of showing Sega's growth as a company. Like, when the original Sonic Generations came out, people were shocked that we had like 06 levels in there, because everyone thought that game was just gonna rot in hell. But they acknowledged it, which was cool for an anniversary. But if you think about it, they never do that. Like, historically, Sega has like, oh, this thing didn't stick, let's throw it out, ditch it, try something new instead of building on it. In Shadow Generations, they go back to like some of those old things. Like, there's a bunch of old 06 levels in there. Like, I can't think of the one, but it's like the box art for 06. That's the level. And it's wonderful. I mean, it is absolutely splendid. Like, Shadow Generations, it's so... It just radiates cool. Like, it's just so neat. Like, it's just like, okay, they didn't have to do this. Like, they didn't need to throw this into it. But this is pretty fucking awesome. Like, it's kind of similar to, like I said before, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Like, 3D World was a really good game that people liked, but not a lot of people were ever able to play because, you know, the Wii U sucked balls. But whenever they remastered / ported it, they brought the game over, made a few, like, quality of life changes, nothing real big, game's still great at heart, but then they added this other side mode that took a lot from the most recent game in the series, and just kind of adapted some of the stuff that worked in the base game to that. And that's exactly the type of thing that happens in Shadow Generations. Like, you can tell the Frontier's influence on this, which is fantastic. And this does a lot better job of merging the, I guess, the open world, open zone type of gameplay with the boost formula, which in Frontiers they sure tried to do, but kind of fumbled the bag because the boost levels in that game were by far the worst part. But everything here in this package works extremely well. They like seamlessly tie together the more like open type of feeling where you can just kind of do whatever you want with the more linear gameplay boost focused game style, which honestly I still think works amazing. I know a lot of people kind of diss on the boost formula, and yeah, back to when like Forces came out, it was kind of redundant because it was boost to win. But now it's back to what it used to be. It's more thought-provoking. It's like reactionary based. If you just hold boost the entire time, you will fail, which is how it should be. You shouldn't be able to hold one button the entire time. That just gnaws your brain and is stupid and makes people not like said game. So yeah, Shadow Generations is just love, and I really like how they, like, obviously they had to do this. They had to bring back Gerald and Maria. I don't know why, but I always find it really cool when they bring back like older characters and you kind of see how they look now in the new, like, I wouldn't say new style, but the new like advancements in the series where it's like they look so cool. Like, it's just like such a heartwarming touch for people who play like Shadow the Hedgehog or SA2. You know, it's great. It's super cool, and I really like it. Like, in both of the games in this package do that. I mean, Generations pulls things from 06, from the original Sonic the Hedgehog games from the Genesis. Like, it's so cool seeing these older type of things in the new style. And this was a very common thing that people said back when the original Generations came out. But like, I don't know if I'm just stupid, but it still works for me. I still think that's super cool. And I've always found that cool, and it's just, you know, it's just neat to me. That's all. So, like I said, everything's great. But what got me really thinking is the why. Why Shadow all of a sudden? Like, cause Sega has coined this year as like the year, like fearlessly, like the year of Shadow or something like that. Which is cool. It's such a cool idea because Shadow is such an interesting character, and like a really good like counterpart to Sonic. But like, why now? Like, because there has to be something, right? Because I remember back, I don't know when this was probably a couple of years ago, the Sonic team was like, oh yeah, Shadow, like, like, they're just trying to make him, like, the boring, like, antagonist, I guess. Like the boring counterpart that he could have been, but hasn't been. And that's stupid, but why now are they giving him this more screen time, this more character growth? Well, obviously, it's because of the third film. If you don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is pretty much just SA2, the movie. I mean, we got Shadow in there, the Chow, the place where Eggman pisses on the moon, I forget what that place is called, but whatever. Like, Gerald's in there. Like, Sonic 3 is SA2, the movie. So that's why they're trying to throw Shadow into everything. Because they're trying to get players who weren't necessarily familiar with Shadow to this more adapted style of him, this more character-driven style. And we can even see that with, in this game, the DLC that's coming out in, like, December 10th or something. The Sonic movie pack, which is, it's Shadow. It's from the movie, and that clearly shows that they're like, yeah, they're trying to self-market themselves by also going back and saying, hey, this character is cool. We need to, like, do something with him, which is sick. Like, as much as Sega fucks up, as much as they're like, oh, this didn't work one time, let's throw it out. They're trying, which is sick. And yeah, that's just really cool. This package of Shadow Generations, Sonic Generations is fantastic. I love the little pre-order bonuses with, like, the old polygonal styles for Sonic, and the what's it called? The concept, like the original design for Shadow. That's sick, and that's something that I think Sega should do more of, because they love doing these stupid, like, digital deluxe editions, and like, oh, this is the complete one, which, whatever, I'm not a fan of that. I think you should be able to get everything in one package, but whatever. But if you're gonna do it, you just get skins and stuff, that's cool. That's sick, and I really like it. That's partly why I bought the digital deluxe edition, because, like in Mario Odyssey, I liked running around with 64 Mario, so of course I wanted to run around with little polygonal Sonics. That's just cool. And also because I got access 3 days early, and this review could come out the day the game does, instead of the day after, because, yeah, so TLDR, I've talked for about like 15 minutes or something, I don't know, I can't read. I find these games fantastic. Generations, it's the game you all know and love. If you love that game back when it came out, get this one. If you haven't tried it and you heard great things about it, still get it. Like, this is great. And Shadow Generations is just the cherry on top to an already fantastic package. And this paints a very beautiful picture of the future for Sega. And I personally cannot wait to see what they're going to do next for our little blue bastard hedgehog. So, yeah. I think I've rambled on about this game for long enough. So, I think we ought to get to the outro by now.